On the morning of May 11th, 2025, Brighton Pier Café hummed with the gentle rhythm of a seaside dawn, its weathered wooden beams kissed by the salty breeze. The air alive with the cry of seagulls and the soft clink of teacups against saucers. The café, perched at the pier's end, was a cozy haven, its windows framing the rolling waves of the English Channel, its tables filled with locals and tourists savoring scones and the warmth of shared stories. The scent of brewed tea mingled with the briny tang of the sea, while outside, the pier's lights flickered in the early light, a beacon of Brighton's enduring charm. Amid this lively scene, Edward Eddie Carter, a 76-year-old Royal Navy veteran, limped in with his cane, his weekly ritual of tea, a quiet act of independence, mocked by a few for his slow pace and war-worn frame. Eddie's struggle with a tray drew jeers until a Navy captain's silent stand transformed laughter into reverence, revealing a hero's past and igniting a legacy of respect for those of you who faced scorn for your perseverance, admired the quiet dignity of a veteran, or been moved by a gesture that silenced a doubt. This story of Eddie's resolve and the captain's honor will stir your heart. Join us in celebrating these moments of quiet valor by subscribing for more tales that uplift and inspire. And let's uncover the strength hidden in a single stand. Comment. Stand with him below to honor Eddie's courage. Edward Eddie Carter, 76, was a man of unyielding spirit, his slight frame and weathered hands bearing the marks of a life at sea, his blue eyes steady with the calm of someone who'd faced death and chosen to live. Born in 1949 in a terraced house in Portsmouth, Eddie grew up on tales of his grandfather's service in Jutland, the sea in his blood from childhood. At 16, he joined the Royal Navy, rising to petty officer, his career defined by the Falklands conflict of 1982, where he served on HMS Sheffield, a Type 42 destroyer. During a missile attack, a mine's explosion cost him his right leg below the knee, his prosthetic a constant companion since. Eddie, you're our anchor, hold fast, his captain had said as he dragged a wounded sailor to safety, his courage earning a mention in dispatches, its certificate folded in a drawer. Retiring in 1995, he settled in Brighton with his wife, Rose, a nurse, their flat overlooking the pier, a haven until her passing in 20. Now alone, Eddie found solace in the Brighton Pier Café, his weekly tea, a ritual of independence, his cane and medals, Falklands Medal, General Service Medal, a quiet testament to his past. His goal was simple, but profound. Keep moving forward. Honor his service. Live with dignity. At the café, he was a familiar face, his worn coat and faint smile a fixture, his slow limp a badge of resilience, his thermos of tea swapped for their brew, his blue eyes bright as he chatted with the hostess, Mary, about the weather or the tides. I'm still sailing. Mary just on land. He'd quip, his voice warm, his heart steady. To you, who've carried scars with pride perhaps, a physical mark, a loss endured, or a challenge met with grit, Eddie's resolve might echo a time when you pressed on, when your independence was your strength, when you honored your past by living fully in the present. The Brighton Pier Café on May 11th, 2025, was a vibrant snapshot of seaside life, its tables crowded with families, couples, and tourists, their chatter blending with the clatter of plates and the hiss of the espresso machine. Outside, the pier bustled, children ran with ice creams. Buskers played guitars. The sea sparkled under a pale sun, its waves a rhythmic pulse. Inside, the cafe's nautical decor ship wheels. Faded photos of old Brighton created a cozy warmth, its windows fogged with steam, its air rich with the scent of bacon and fresh pastries. Eddie arrived at 9:30 am, his cane tapping the wooden floor, his worn navy coat adorned with his medals, their silver glinting as he nodded to Mary, the hostess, her smile wide. "Your booth's ready." Eddie, he took his tray, tea, a scone, a small jam pot, his hand steady but slow, his prosthetic legs stiff from the morning chill, his blue eyes focused, his spirit undimmed by the limp that slowed his steps. Patrons glanced up, some smiling, others indifferent, a few whispering as he shuffled to his booth, their voices low but sharp. To Eddie, the cafe was a haven, a place to feel the sea's pulse, to hold on to the independence he'd fought for. His weekly visit, a quiet victory over time and injury. His presence was a thread in the cafe's tapestry. His resolve, a light that shone despite the shadows of age and loss. To you, who found solace in routine, perhaps a favorite spot, a weekly ritual, or a place where you felt whole Eddie's Cafe might recall a time when you claimed your space, when your presence was your power, when you lived your truth amidst the crowd's hum. Eddie's struggle began as he balanced his tray, his cane hooked on his arm, his steps deliberate, his prosthetic leg catching slightly on the floor's uneven planks. A group of tourists at a nearby table. 3 men in their 30s. Their accents a mix of London and Essex noticed. Their laughter sharp. Look at him wobble, should use a walker. Mate. One grinned, his voice loud. His mates chuckling, their phones out. One filming. Old war stories. More like old fairy tales. Another added, his smirk wide. The group's laughter drawing eyes. A few patrons joining in, their giggles soft but stinging. Eddie pressed on, his face calm, his blue eyes fixed on his booth, his hands trembling but steadying the tray. His Navy training focus under fire keeping him grounded. A spoon slipped, clattering to the floor, its ring loud in the cafe's din. Eddie pausing to reach down, his prosthetic leg stiff, his face etched with effort, his medal swaying, dropped it again, typical. The first tourist jeered, his voice cutting, his mates laughing louder, one mimicking Eddie's limp, their table a hub of mockery. The cafe's mood shifted, some patrons looking away, a waitress hesitating, her tray frozen, others whispering uncomfortably, a family at the next table frowning but silent. Eddie's calm was forged in harder trials, minds exploding, comrades bleeding, seas raging. His silence, not surrender, but strength. His focus a shield against their scorn. To you, who faced ridicule for your efforts, perhaps a struggle mocked, a limitation judged, or a moment when laughter stung Eddie's persistence might resonate, recalling when you held your head high, when your dignity stood firm, when you moved forward despite the crowd's jeers. In a corner booth, unnoticed until now, Captain Helen Grant, 42, sat with a coffee, her Royal Navy uniform crisp, her commander's insignia gleaming, her dark hair pulled back, her green eyes sharp. A 20-year veteran, Helen had served on frigates in the Gulf, led anti-piracy missions off Somalia, and trained recruits in Portsmouth. Her career a testament to discipline and empathy. Her uncle's stories of the Falklands shaping her path. She'd come to the cafe for a quiet morning, her leave a rare pause. But Eddie's struggle caught her eye, his medal sparking recognition, his limp a clue to a story she knew. As the tourists' laughter grew, Helen's gaze narrowed, her jaw tightening, her years at sea teaching her to spot valor beneath hardship. When the spoon fell and the jeers peaked, she acted, her movement swift but deliberate, her uniform a quiet command as she stood, her boots soft on the wood. The cafe hushed, patrons turning, the tourists' laughter faltering as Helen crossed to Eddie, her presence a shift in the air. Like a ship steadying in a storm, she knelt, her uniform pristine, and picked up the spoon, her hands gentle, her eyes meeting Eddie's. A faint nod passing between them, she stood, placing the spoon on his tray, then stepped behind him, her posture rigid, her stance at attention, her silence a salute that stopped the cafe cold. Every eye followed, the tourists frozen, their phones lowered, the waitress exhaling, the family smiling softly, the air thick with awe. Helen's stand was wordless, but its weight was seismic. A ripple that silenced mockery, honored struggle, and shifted the room's heart to you, who've seen a gesture change everything. Perhaps a quiet act that hushed critics, a stand that honored effort, or a silence that spoke louder than scorn. Helen's action might mirror when you witness dignity triumph, when respect answered ridicule, when a single move rewrote a moment's story. The revelation came as Helen turned to the crowd, her voice steady, her green eyes piercing, her hand holding a faded photo from her wallet, a grainy 1982 image of Eddie, bloodied but resolute, aiding a wounded sailor on HMS Sheffield's deck, the sea chaotic behind them. "This is Edward Carter," she said firmly, her voice carrying over the cafe's hush, the tourists shifting uneasily, their smirks gone. "He saved my uncle during the Falklands, dragged him from a burning deck, lost his leg for it. His bravery gave us peace." The photo passed from hand to hand, patrons leaning in, the family's mother gasping, the waitress tearing up, the tourists' faces flushing, one muttering, "Didn't know." Eddie looked up, his blue eyes meeting Helen's. A faint nod, his only reply. His tray steady now, his booth reached with Helen's arm guiding him. The cafe erupted in applause, a wave of claps and cheers. The family standing, their children clapping, the waitress rushing to refill Eddie's tea. Free of charge, the tourists, chastened, paid their bill quietly, one leaving a tip with a whispered, "Sorry, mate." Helen sat with Eddie, her coffee shared, her voice soft. "Uncle Jim always spoke of you, Eddie." He smiled, his medals glinting, his reply simple. "Just did my job, lass." The moment, captured by a patron's phone, Eddie's tray, Helen's stand, the photo. The applause spread on her, titled, "Captain Honors Falklands Hero, hashtags Eddie Stand." As silent valor, a Brighton hero trended, clips shared millions of times, comments flooding Eddie's a legend. Helen's respect is everything. Shame on those tourists. To you, who've seen a truth shift perceptions, perhaps a story that silenced the doubters, a hero revealed, or a moment when honor prevailed. Helen's words might recall when you saw courage recognized, when a past was honored, when respect turned scorn to awe. The legacy took root swiftly. Eddie's story, a spark that lit Brighton with pride. Locals, hearing via X, sent cards to the cafe, their notes piling up. Thank you, Eddie, for your service. You're our hero, Mary, the hostess. Framed the viral clips, still a photo of Eddie and Helen. Captioned Carter's Corner, hanging it by the booth. Now reserved for Eddie each Sunday. A plaque was proposed by the cafe owner, Mr. Patel, a Brighton native. Its design, a bronze anchor and cane. Inscribed Carter's Corner, for Edward Carter, hero of the Falklands. Proof is the plan, shared at a community meeting. Drew nods, patrons pledging funds, veterans from the local legion clapping, their eyes wet. Eddie, humbled, visited the cafe, his cane steady, his coat proud. Never alone now, veterans joined him, their medals clinking, locals buying his tea, children waving, their parents whispering his story. That's the man who saved lives. Helen, back at Portsmouth, shared Eddie's tale with recruits, her training now including honor in silence, her voice firm. See the medals, not the limp. Recruits saluted sharper, their drills infused with respect, their barracks buzzing with Eddie's name. Ease posts grew, sat with Eddie today. True, hero, Helen Standy's Navy Pride. A campaign, Valor in Quiet, launched with the Royal Navy and Brighton schools, teaching respect for veterans. Its posters, an anchor and a cane. See the hero in cafes and libraries. Translated into Spanish, Bengali, and Arabic. Murals appeared in Brighton. Eddie's silhouette, courage. In Portsmouth, valor with waves. To you, who've seen a legacy grow, perhaps a hero story that inspired, a gesture that united, or a moment that lived on. Eddie and Helen's bond might mirror when you saw honor spark change, when respect became a movement, when a quiet stand became eternal. Eddie's weekly visits became a ritual of community, his booth a hub of stories. Falklands nights, Sheffield's fires, Rose's laughter. Veterans shared their tales, their teacups clinking, their laughter warm, children listening, their drawings of ships pinned by Mary. Helen visited when on leave, her uniform a draw, her handshake with Eddie firm, their photo trending. Ma Carter and Grant. The plaque, unveiled in 2026, gleamed at the cafe's entrance. Its ceremony packed veterans, locals, Helen, Mr. Patel. Their salutes a wave. X alight with Fester Carter's Corner. The campaign spread. Schools taught Eddie's story. Cafes hosted Veteran Days. Murals in Sydney. Bravery with anchors. Eddie, at his flat, framed Helen's photo, its place beside Rose's. His medals now displayed, his heart full for you, who've honored quiet valor perhaps with a nod to a hero, a stand for the overlooked, or a moment that valued sacrifice. Eddie and Helen's story is a call to stand with dignity, to let honor live, to respect the silent. Share your story. Have you honored a veteran? Silenced the scorn? Stood for valor? Subscribe for more tales of heart and courage. And join us in raising awareness, stand with honor, live with respect, love with dignity. Click the bell, share with someone who cherishes heroes. And let's honor the stand that silences, the valor that shines, the legacy that endures. In a veteran, a captain, and a café that guards forever.